All right, how to make sausage pozole. So I've got my Instant Pot on for saute setting, and I'm gonna wait for it to heat up. If you have it, I recommend using some lard or a little bit of bacon fat on the bottom to cook the ground sausage in, but I don't have that, so I'm gonna use just a little bit of butter to put on the bottom. And I'm using 1 pound of ground pork. You could use ground chicken if you'd prefer. So I'm going to let that little bit of butter heat up in there. And I have half a diced onion in here, yellow onion, and then probably 4 cloves of garlic, maybe 5. So that's heating. I don't want the butter to burn, so I'm going to go ahead and add my onion and garlic in first. And I'm going to give that a stir so it gets covered in the fat. And I'm just going to let that heat for a little bit till it's slightly translucent. I don't want the butter to burn, and I don't want the garlic to burn, so I'm not going to let it go super long. But while that's going, I'll show you that I have this pozole broth. If you don't have it, it's fine. You can just use water. But this was free, so I'm going to use it. And the main thing about this is that what kind of base is it? An ancho stock base. So it's just a nice, rich type of chili stock. And then a can of hominy. And I've got my spices here. And then a mini can of tomato paste. I think last time I only used like 2 tablespoons of it. So the small can that you can find, the smallest one you can, the better. Alright. So the Instant Pot saute setting gets hot pretty quickly. So there's definitely some color to my onions already. So I'm going to add in my ground pork and just let all of the ingredients in there cook a bit. So now I have my bigger spatula to kind of break it up a little bit. But basically I just want it even on the base of the pan. And I'm going to let that brown a bit. You can cook the pork so it's cooked all the way through, but if not, like, you can basically leave it uncooked a little bit in the middle if you're gonna leave it on like a slow cook setting. But I'm gonna try to get as much cooked as I can. So while that's going, you can prep your little topping mix. And so I had diced up some cilantro, green onions, and then some red radishes. So those are just, diced up pretty small. And then I squirted some lime juice on top. So while that's cooking, I'm gonna have a sip of my margarita. It's very foamy. I'll turn my smoothie into a boozy. Alright. So, again, to keep my stuff from burning, my onions, I'm going to go ahead and give it a stir. And at this point, I don't need to add any more fat because the pork that I'm using puts off a lot of fat. It's just a fatty ground pork. But I want to make sure all the onions and garlic are pretty well mixed in there. It's kind of hard to see in here because I'm so short, so I'm on my tippy toes right now. But I've got that going. And I think it's really nice to use the Instant Pot for it because then when you're done, you can just like pull the whole thing out. And then keep it in your fridge to cool. Also, you can like make it in the afternoon, let it stay warm for a few hours, have some for dinner. It's a good option. So, let's see here. That's cooking away, getting kind of like a gray brown while the onions caramelize. And so I'm gonna use some chipotle powder, dried oregano, some smoked paprika, cumin, and sea salt. Don't really have anything exciting to say to keep you entertained right now. But that looks almost there to me. So I'm going to take my broth, give it a good shake. Ideally, try to find a broth that doesn't have any like vegetable oils in there. That's ideal. So, and since it was free, I'm gonna check to make sure it's not spoiled. Yeah, it smells fine. Ooh, I also have lime juice in a bottle because we didn't have any fresh limes, but lime juice is going to be the acid that you'll add in here. So while that's cooking and almost done, I'm going to throw in some salt. I'm going to do, probably that was like 2 teaspoons worth. I'm going to go ahead and take my chili powder and just give it a good coat. Some oregano powder. A little bit of smoked paprika, kind of cover to like half of it, and then some cumin. So, let's see what we got. Just kind of all covered there on top, and so we'll just give it a stir. Mix it all up. Yeah, the pork looks almost done. Yum, it smells really good already. And so I'm gonna let those sit in there for about a minute and a half. Don't really want those to burn either. I'm gonna take, let's see, probably 2 tablespoons of the tomato paste. Wipe off my finger, and then give it another stir. I like to smelt as I'm cooking it. And then the last touch for the base is squeezing in some of my lime juice. If you have fresh limes, great. I'd say if you're going to do fresh lime juice, then maybe do like half a lime. Otherwise, just give it a good squeeze. And then another stir, and you can smell all the spices, the tomato paste, the lime juice. And so now it's nice and coated. Almost looks like Sloppy Joe's. Sloppy Wands. That'll get me canceled.
Jose.
So yeah, Sloppy Jose. And then now it's like really kicking up, getting really hot. So in order not to burn anything, I'm going to dump in my liquid. And again, you could use water if you don't have a chili broth. I just think it gives it a little more flavor. So dump that all in there. And then I had already rinsed and, well, drained and rinsed these, so all the liquid was off. And then I'm just going to dump that whole thing in. Give it a nice little mix up. And then I'm just going to keep it on the saute setting So it'll almost bring it up to a boil, just because, like I said, the Instant Pot saute setting gets pretty hot. Now, I'm going to, let's see, I'm just going to do the off and then saute again. So it's for 30 minutes. And just going to let it basically saute for 30 minutes. And then it will be ready. And that way it kind of softens. It has time for all the flavors to get into the pork. And then it also gives the hominy some time to expand a little bit. But simple as that. And then, yeah, you get your little topping to put in there. And then once you taste it after 30 minutes, you can decide if you want to add more cumin. Maybe you want some more acid in there, so you can add some more of your lime juice, or you can add some more salt. But that's kind of the basics of it. And then from there, you can build on it. So, enjoy!